Hamid, did you join? Okay.
Hi guys.
Hi guys,
Sorry.
welcome. So it's gonna be two parts. I'm gonna do share my screen and introduce you Hyperpad and explain to you how to use Hyperpad. And then after Hamid's gonna jump in and he's gonna do a game with us together. Okay?
Awesome. Have fun.
Awesome. So for those who doesn't know me, my name is Clarissa. Nice to meet you. I work for Hyperpad and I'm the marketing manager for Hyperpad.
And I'm Hamid. I'm one of the co-founders of Hyperpad, and I'm gonna be actually building a game with you guys today. So yeah, let's go get started.
Awesome. Let's get started. So share my screen.
I'm gonna jump off of the stream.
Can you guys see my screen? Yeah. Awesome. So today you guys gonna be designing your own game. So I hope that you guys have some experience. If not, that's okay. This is not required experience. That's what we're here for, to help you out. So for that, we're gonna need an iPad. So I know not everybody has an iPad, but we have some good news. Today Hyperpad is free for you guys that are participating. So make sure to download Hyperpad. So let's give you some content on what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to explain to you what is Hyperpad, and then I'm going to tell you to download Hyperpad. And then after, we're going to show you how to use it. And after, we're going to make a live game together. So make sure that you follow with us together if you guys have a tablet. And if not, this stream is going to be saved. Once you get an iPad, you can download it and watch it later. Okay? So this is a little video of introduction of Hyperpad, your expectations. You don't need to code how to use Hyperpad, and this is kind of one of the games that our users created. It's really cool, and I want to see your creativity leading the way today, guys. You can share your work with people from all over the world, your projects. You can create multiplayer games. You can earn money submitting your game directly to the App Store, and there's a lot of things that you can do with Hyperpad. So I'm excited to show you guys what you can do today, and let's be creative. Don't forget, I'm gonna send you guys registration. The registration is on our Instagram, so make sure that you go on our Instagram, under pad, and then register for our workshop. This is really good for us to kind of keep track of who participates, and for me to send you emails after with questions and feedbacks. And please download Hyperpad today. It's free. It's from $20 Canadian, like $14.99 US to $0 now. So we're giving an amazing promotion for you guys. Awesome. So let's show you how to use Hyperpad. So once you guys open Hyperpad, you're going to see this big screen, which is something that we want to talk to you guys today. The Global Game Jam is something really exciting. We challenge all of you guys to make a game with Hyperpad and be part of the Global Game Jam. And we want you guys to win. So we're providing some prizes for top 3 games submitted with Hyperpad. So that's exciting. So when you see here, you're going to be able to see all other games available in the hub. This is called the Hyperpad Hub. This is basically I like to think it's like a social media within Hyperpad. You can like and share other people's project. You can give some comments, and you can also share your game directly to the hub, and then so other people from all over the world can play your game, and that's free as well. Next, we're going to talk about projects. So how are you going to be able to create your game? So this is the part where you have all your projects available, and today, because you're making it for the first time, you're going to click right here on your projects. Feel free to kind of ask me questions, by the way, as I'm explaining to you guys. So once you have your project, this is how it's gonna look like. Of course, not with all this explanation, but you're gonna have this scene as well, okay? So the first part, this one here is responsible for copying objects that were previously copied before, so it works like a stamp. And this one here selects the object individually, okay? And this one, I select several objects in the same time. This one, I can move the entire screen, like the entire scene. And this one is responsible to see the Cartesian plane. So the way the hyperpad works is you can see as a function, right? So y and x. And this point here will be the 0.0, okay? And so this one here is for you to visualize your project, how it will look at different devices, how it would look from an iPad, how it would look from an iPhone, and different kinds of iPhones and different kinds of iPads. This one here is for you to check your scenes and overlays. What is scenes and what is overlays? Basically, when you have a game, there's different scenes, right? For example, if you die, another scene, right? If it's game over, that's called overlay. Then you have the game over overlay. If you want to replay, then that's another overlay. This one here is to add backgrounds and to adjust the screen view. And this one here is very important. You know, I cannot explain just with 3 words, but it's basically, it is responsible for all the behaviors and the physics of your games. The behaviors essentially is how we're gonna have our character move to left and right? The behaviors essentially is the visual coding, what we call it from Hyperpad. This one here, as you play your game and you start making your game, you always need to test your game. So trust me, it's going to be frustrating, sometimes not going to work, but that's why this is so important, that when you start creating your game, you always have to test it to see if it works or not. So this is the play button. This one is to correct, going back and forth. And if you need help, we do have a lot of materials and resources available right here. This one here is another important component, the layers. Basically, how the layers work is to help you organize your project and put objects on top of other objects. Once you put the objects on top of other objects, these objects does not interact physically with each other. So it's really good in terms of like keep your game organized. So an example of layer will be a mountain. So you have your game and then the mountain will be an overlay. So it will be kind of scenery if you don't want this object to have a behavior. And this terminology seems different because you don't know much, but as I explain and Hamid start making the game, you're gonna get what I'm saying. And after this one, the toolbox is responsible for you to put your assets. We're gonna talk a lot about assets. That's gonna be another word that we're gonna be talking about. And what is an asset? An asset is basically graphics. You know, anybody here is an artist. Anybody makes their own animation. If you do, that's awesome because you can import your own graphics and your own animation to your game today. And if you like to make music too, you can import your music as well. And if you're not a musician, you don't make music, I don't know how to, use GarageBand, I don't know how to play guitar, then you can make your music with Hyperpad as well. And that's what this toolbox it is for. And you can also add like cool particles like an explosion, and you can add a sound. But this flask here is another important kind of asset. Is what we call like what I call empty objects. You can create your own object. If you don't want to export assets, or if you don't want to download assets from our Hyperpad library, which is free, by the way, you can create your own object, which can be a square, which we call empty object. That can be a circle. That can be, by default, it's going to be a square, like a transparent square, but then later on you can adjust as you want. And you can add the health bar, which is basically the little hearts in your game that die, like that you add if you get a point. And the scores, the label is what we call scores, and then you're gonna see as we make the game. So this one is what we call object dot, which is basically our characters. You're gonna see as we click here and add our characters, we're gonna be having all the characters available here, and with our fingers we're gonna be dragging and drop to the scene, because again, this is an iPad product, so this whole scene is gonna be your iPad, by the way. So I talk a lot about assets. So what are assets? Like I said, assets are graphics. They're sounds, fonts, spreadsheets, particles, and animation. An example of animation would be, let's make Bob walk, so then the legs are like moving at the same time. Or let's make Bob jump, so then it's the animation of Bob jumping, right? So there's different kinds of objects in Hyperpad. Like I was telling you, the empty objects by default will be the square, transparent square that you can transform into a circle. Our sound effects, which is like the laser tag, pew, 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 or the text label, game over, health bar, little hearts in the game. Particle effects will be like an explosion. Life indicator will be how, if you're dying or like if you're still surviving on your game. And the joystick will be kind of like how you control your game with your iPad, like left, right, and then. So then another thing I want to talk to you that is very important when making a game with Hyperpad. There are physics modes in Hyperpad. There's what we call wall, physics, and scenery. And this is really important. So sometimes when your game is not working, maybe it's because your character is in wall mode, or maybe it's because your character is in physics mode, or maybe it's because your character is in scenery. So let's talk about what will be like a wall object today. So our wall object will be like, think about literally a wall, stationary. It doesn't move, but it can still collide. So this photo is an example I took from one of our Hyperpad 101 tutorials made by our Xcode. And this will be our wall object. So if you want to have a game and then our character is not really moving, it's there, like a tree, but it still can be collidable, then that's called wall object. The next one is a physics object. Physics object will be, for example, I have a character, and his name is Bob. Bob moves left and right. So Bob needs to be a physics object because it uses gravity, air frictions, and resistance. So on this photo here, the little box is when there's a collision, it moves, right? So that's an example of physics object. Another one will be scenery. So the scenery will be like a prop. It's just there to make it pretty, right? Like a tree, or it can be like a cactus, or anything that you want to make your game pretty, okay? The scenery does not collide, by the way. So if you make your object the scenery, it's not gonna have any collisions. And feel free to ask questions. This is really good for the kids that are learning physics, or teachers that want to explain like concepts of physics to their students. This is amazing tool to learn that. So let's talk about wall and physics objects again. Just to recall, wall are always stationary. They don't move. They don't react to active forces, but they're also a rigid body. Physics is not always stationary. It reacts to physical forces, and it is a rigid body, okay? So rigid bodies have collision, okay? So they have collision detection. So just so you clarify, physics class here. So this is an example of that just so you guys know that physics objects can collide with physics objects right here. And then a wall object can also, a physics object can also collide with a wall object. So these are two examples so you guys can visualize, okay? Another important component of Hyperpad is passable. Sometimes I have my game and then my character is a physics character, and then I have my grass that is wall, but then my character goes and falls. Sometimes it's because my character is a passable here. It says the passable is on. So that means that just like in the picture you see the passable is on, so you see a lot of particles falling. So that means that it's going to fall. If I don't want my character to be passable and I want my character to hit the wall, then I'm going to turn it off, the passable, okay? And don't worry, we're going to explain it to you with an example of video game. But just so you guys become familiar with this wordings, passable, physics, walls, okay? All this terminology that we're going to be teaching you guys today. So again, an object can be passable, but it can also be collidable as well. So this example that our Xcode gave it to us is farts. So think about fart. You're passing by fart, but you can still be affected by it on your game. So that just means that just because it's in a cloud state doesn't mean that it's not collidable. So the character Bob is reacting to it. Okay, so now we're going to be teaching you guys how to make a platform starter pack, a game, like an easy one. So we're going to be teaching you concepts of how to add a new project, how to create a character like Bob, and how to add animation on your character, and how we can add behaviors, how we can make our character move like to the right, to the left, jump. And then we're going to be doing getting coins, destroying the coins, eating the coins. And with that, making a sound, how we can create a sound with Hyperpad. Part 2 that we're going to talk about today is creating passable objects. We're going to be showing you what's a passable object, on and off, how does that impact my game. And we're going to be teaching you guys another behavior called screen follow, which you're going to be learning today. It's easier if you visualize. And we're going to be adding a life indicator and a score. So now Hamid's going to jump in, and he's going to share his screen, and we're going to be making a game with you guys today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen 1 second. Also, any questions you have, please feel free to ask us.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions. So basically, I'm just going to go through what Clarissa just went through. I'm just going to kind of recreate that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project, and then I'm just going to disable cloud backups for now. And what I'm going to do is just create a platformer game. And you can think of a platformer to be like a Mario type style game, where it's like where you move horizontally and you jump up and down. So a platformer game, and then we're gonna press next here. So I'm gonna turn that off, and we're gonna do landscape orientation. So that basically just means sideways. And then the device, we're just going to be doing like an iPad for now. But if you want to support other devices, other screen sizes, you just select them here. And you can change that later as well. So if you go to, let's make it a 4:3, which is just a standard iPad screen. We're going to set the gravity to -25 meters per second squared. So this is the interface. The bottom's kind of cut off just because I guess I don't know, the video platform is cutting off the bottom, but the bottom bar is our assets. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and download our platformer game pack, starter pack. And this is just going to give us all the graphics to make our platformer game. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to basically create our level. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a ground. So we're going to go to this grass world. We're going to add some grass blocks. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the grid. And kind of like Clarissa said, it shows our Cartesian plane. So the bottom left, unfortunately, I can't show like what I'm looking at, but this cross right here, the blue cross shows the 0, 0, so the origin. So let's just go ahead and add some floors to that. So and I'm just gonna go ahead to duplicate this a bunch of times. And what I'm gonna do, actually, you know what? I'm gonna make this be up in the air a little bit. Let me just duplicate that a bunch of times. Okay, and we have our ground, and I'm just gonna go ahead, use that select all tool that Clarissa was talking about before, press delete, and go back to my single select. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add our character. And the main character we're going to use is our green spaceman. And a lot of you guys probably recognize these graphics from Kenny and Ella. So thank you for making that art pack free. And that's available free on our asset shop as well. So if you let's add our green spaceman, and let's just find his front animation to be the default. Oops. So we're just gonna throw that guy on here, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna press play and see what happens, and nothing happens, right? That's because by default, when you throw in an object into your scene, it's going to be by default it's going to be a wall object. So let's turn our green spaceman into a physics object, and you'll see that each one of these, the floors, are also wall objects. So what we're going to assume to happen is when we press play, we should see our green spaceman fall and hit the floor. And just like that, he now hits the floor. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make it so that we can control our joystick. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our green spaceman, press the behaviors, and you'll see that there's already a play animation here. This is basically the idle animation. When you add an animated object, they'll just automatically create that behavior for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to add joystick controlled. And by default, this will kind of have us moving around without any effort. So if I joystick left, joystick right, you'll see us sliding left and right. That's kind of boring though, so I make them animate. So when we do the left animation, let's go choose our walk, and we choose, when you do right, we're going to do the same thing, add a walking animation. So when we press left and right, I should have animated, but it didn't. Joystick left animation, joystick right animation. Okay, that might be broken right now. We're actually revamping that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to do it manually. So left and right. We're going to play animation. I'm just going to duplicate this one and have these both connect to our play animation. And what we're going to do is just press our walk animation. And on joystick, and what we're going to do is on stop touching our joystick, let's go to our global UI, that's where it is. On stop touching the joystick, we're going to play the walk animation again. So there we go. Oh, that's really fast. So there's some weird issues going on with that joystick control, but we're not going to debug that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and just turn these all off. But so we can joystick control left and right, yeah, we can move around. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add a jump button. So when we jump, it's just going to jump up. So similar to joystick control, we have a pre-made behavior called jump with button, and it's just automatically going to add a button to our screen as well. And when we're on the ground and press jump, we can jump up and down. Oh, now the animation's working for some reason. I don't know why that started working, but cool. So let's just go ahead and delete that. And so yeah, once we jump, you can see that it will walk left and right. So now we have our joystick moving left and right. So I don't know if you guys see it 60 frames per second. On my end, it's very silky smooth. It might be kind of laggy from the streaming. Yeah. So we have like our basic controls working very quickly. So somebody asked in the comments if we made a dev engine for mobile. That's exactly what we did. So you can fully create a game end to end, a 2D game, any kind of game pretty much, and you can publish that to the App Store. You can share it with your friends. You can do kind of whatever you need to do, but it's all on the iPad. Okay, cool. So this game is kind of boring. You just kind of what we're doing is we're just kind of going left and right. Let's do something crazy and add some obstacles. So Mario has some really great game design to kind of teach you the ropes. And the first thing Mario kind of shows you is the ability to like jump over obstacles. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another, we're going to add a crate, and we're going to make it so that you have to jump over a series of crates just to get to the next part. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and duplicate that thing. All right, and yeah, so the only way to kind of move forward is to jump over the crates. So there we go, and now we're on the other side. Success. So what we're going to do now is we are going to add an enemy. And what happens when we add an enemy is, so let's just go ahead and start duplicating a bunch of things. And what we're going to add is slime. A pink slime. He's always a bad guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our pink slime. And when you touch the pink slime, what we're going to do is we're going to game over for now. That's what we're going to do. There's two ways of doing this. One is we can add behaviors to our slime, where if you touch the slime, you lose. Another way we can do this is by adding tags to our slime. So and then controlling that logic on our actual player character, which might be a little bit cleaner, might not be, but let's go ahead and do that. So it kind of depends on how you want to create your game. So we're gonna call this tag enemy. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're going to add some logic. So when we collide with our enemy, sorry, that's an object. So when we collided with our enemy, we want to kind of game over. Just for now, we'll just do game over. And what we can do, we add the collided behavior to the screen, and then we press the tags button in the bottom right corner, and then we add the enemy tag. Enemy tag. I feel like I forgot to add this tag to the. Yeah, I did. I didn't actually select it because when you select tags, it'll show up in this list right here. So yeah, when we collide with our enemy tag, what we're gonna do is we're going to first. Actually, we're just gonna game over. So let's go to scene, and then we're gonna load overlay, and then we're gonna select the game over overlay. So by default, kind of what Clarissa said before, there's two default overlays. There's the pause menu. So when your player presses pause, it pauses the game, and the game over overlay, which it says, let's actually go to it. It says game over, restart or main menu. So same with the pause menu. So if you go back to our scene and we go and touch our slime character, oh, game over. And I don't know if you guys noticed as my slime was jittering really fast. That's because it has like a slime animation. What we're gonna do is we're gonna play this animation, and we're just gonna limit the number of frames per second to be like 5 frames per second, and that looks much more slimy. So we're gonna go ahead and touch the slime, and game over. Cool. So all right. So we have our enemy. We have our first obstacle. Let's pick up some coins. Coins are always fun to pick up. Really quick, I'm gonna check how much time we have left. Okay, we have another 30 minutes. Okay. So feel free to ask any questions. If you guys have any questions or anything, we will, I can answer. All right. So we're going to keep adding to our level. I'm just going to keep duplicating the ground here. Sorry, I'm not very creative, so I'm just going to make a floor here. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this crate, and we're going to move these crate obstacles. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to our assets again, and I'm going to select the gold coin. And we're going to add a coin right up here on top of this second crate. Yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make it so that, again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give this a tag. I'm going to give this a tag, and I'm going to give this the coin tag. I press this plus button and add the coin to it. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay. So so you have our coin, and so we have our coin, and now we're going to go to our green spaceman character again. I'm going to call him Bob. I'm going to call him Bob from now on. So that's a mouthful. So I'm just going to call him Bob. Whenever Bob collides with the whenever Bob collides with the coin, we are going to we're going to use the add to score behavior, which will automatically keep track of your points. So we're going to add an add to score, and we'll see that there's no score that is selected. So what we're going to go to is the global UI, and global UI is a special layer. Global UI basically says whatever is in this green outlined space will show up, will always show up, even if you move your camera. We haven't gotten into the camera just yet. We'll get to that in a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a label. And this is going to be our points. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to right align. I'm going to right align that and align this to the right and put this, we're going to put that in the middle. And I'm just going to move that, give it some padding, a little bit of padding here. Oops, in the grid. That's not good. And what we're going to do is we're going to default that label to 0. And there's a cool thing about there's a really cool thing about scene UI, the scene and global UI. So if I go ahead and change the iPad screen, you'll see that the things on the global UI and scene UI will automatically move based off of where the screen changes. And you'll notice this button isn't changing. So the reason for that is this is not percentage scale. So let's go ahead and put this back in this corner here. And now that we made a percentage position, sorry, not scale, percentage position, it's going to move with the screen size. And you'll see that the other objects don't do that, and same reason position scale is not on. But if you can do that, but you usually don't want your world to be percentage scaled. You want to just control that yourself. So let's just turn off percentage scale on our slime character. All right, so so whenever we collide with our add to score, we're gonna go select that from our global UI layer on the right, and we're gonna select that and press OK, and we're just gonna add it by 1. So let's go ahead and press play. So you guys are gonna notice something wrong immediately. How do I get to my coin? The camera's not moving. Oops, I died. The camera's not moving. Oh, what's going on? That's because we don't have our character being followed by the camera. So what we're going to do is going to go select our green spaceman character. And then we're going to add another behavior called, in our screen behaviors, we're going to add screen follow. And we're only going to follow the X. So now if we move, you can see that the camera moves with us. So now, oops, I'm not good at this game. So we're going to go ahead and go to the slime, jump over. Sorry, made this game too hard. So I'm going to jump over our slime. There we go. And we grab our coin. Oh, but what just happened? Our coin doesn't disappear. Well, but we see in the top right corner that our points are going up. Well, that's interesting. So what we can do is when we collide, we're going to destroy the coin we just picked up. So that way we can't pick it up multiple times. So we're going to do the object and destroy object. And we're going to not destroy ourselves because that'll break our game. We're going to go select. We're going to select the coin that we just ran into. And the way you do that is a lot of behaviors output something. And in this case, collided outputs the object that it collided with. So there's two ways of doing this so that we remove the coin the coin we collided with from our project, from our game. So if you move this little output on the top right corner of a behavior, and you move it on top of this, and you select object B, that's the object we just collided with. Or you can make it so that when you destroy object, you can destroy the, oops, not the enemy, the coin. And if this tag and the behavior, the child behaviors share the same tag, it's going to only affect that object that you just interacted with. So we're going to do it that way. So cool. So now when you press play, we're going to go and run into our coin, and you'll see that we picked up our coin. But you might have noticed that we kind of bounced when we touched it. When you touched the coin, it kind of bounced. So the reason for that is our coin is a wall, right? But specifically, it's a non-passable wall. So this passable switch, which Clarissa talked about earlier, is it will let you walk through another object or pass through another object. So yeah, so now we want to make our coins passable, so that way when you run into it, it doesn't do this weird jitter. So what we're going to do is we're going to go pick up our coin. And there you go. There wasn't any jitter. And again, it's kind of laggy. The stream looks kind of laggy, so it might be jittering anyways for you guys, but on my end, it's very smooth. Okay, so what is next? So we have that. All right, so let's add another enemy. So our slime right now just stays still, which is kind of boring. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my slime character. Duplicate this guy. And I'm going to move him over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to make him move left and right. And there's several ways to do that in HyperPad. We have this behavior in Transform called, we actually have another behavior in Object called, what is it? What's it called? We have so many behaviors. Sometimes even though I helped build all of this, I tend to forget our behaviors. But we have a behavior that can they'll basically patrol. That's what it's called, patrol. So we look for the patrol behavior. Oh, it's in the object section. So the patrol behavior will do what it's kind of saying. It's just going to patrol. It's just going to patrol. And we're just going to change this in and out. So if we go to our character, or to our slime character on the end, you should see him moving left and right automatically. And if you go into the behaviors of this, you can see that his movement is move left by 6 meters, and then it's just going to go back. And this is going to be like this kind of motion. But let's do it manually, because we already have a bunch of behaviors that do a lot of stuff for you. Let me teach you how to do it manually. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a move behavior. We also have a move by. So we're going to build our patrol behavior manually. So we're going to move by -5. We're going to add another move by. So once it's finished moving, we're gonna move it back 5 meters. So this one's moving -5 meters. This one's moving back 5 meters. And it's going to do this over 1 second each. Or you can kind of say how fast you want to go. You can go like 1 meters per second or 1 meters per second. And then our guy's a slime character. So let's make him bounce as he's moving. So let's do an in-out bounce. And let's do like an in-out bounce here effect. And let's because we're testing, let's move our slime. Let's move him just so you can see what happens. Just move him right here beside the other slime. Yeah, do you see him kind of moving, kind of bouncy? And then he's just going to move back. So that's our manual patrol behavior. There's some more things we can do. So he's only going to do it once. And the reason why he's doing it once is because we're not telling it to go back. So if you kind of tell it to go, if you kind of do this, HyperPad gets confused. It will actually ignore your move behaviors completely because there's no parent behavior here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to flip these back around. Is we're going to use the behavior bundle just to group these behaviors together. And now, because one of these has a parent, I can go ahead and loop it like that. So now these will move forever, and HyperPad won't be confused because it knows to start with this behavior bundle. So now you'll see our slime moving back and forth like a weird slime character. It makes it harder to navigate. Cool. So, and actually, because we copied that behavior, it shares the same tag. Sorry, the object, it shares the same tag. We can kind of duplicate this guy all over, right? We can duplicate him here. We can duplicate him here, right? And they're just kind of going to be moving around. Same with the coins. Let's go ahead and use the stamp tool for that guy. So I'm gonna press copy here, and now we can press the stamp tool, and we're just gonna stamp our coins everywhere. And we're gonna pick up our coins. Oops. We move here, and I'm gonna put this in a really hard to get spot. Oops. Put that here, put that here, put that here. And just have coins kind of everywhere. Make it satisfying to pick up. And then press play. So now we see our score going up as we pick up more coins, but some of these coins are really hard to get. So you can do a lot of like game design kind of things really quickly to play around. Yeah, this game's impossible. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this guy because this game got too hard for me. So yeah, so we can play with a lot of game design elements here. And one game design element we can add is satisfaction, right? So HyperPad has a built-in sound effects editor and a built-in it has a built-in sound effects editor and a built-in particle editor, right? So you can go ahead and build your own particles from scratch. You can use some of these templates to kind of build some particles. But what I'm going to show you here actually is the built-in sound effect editor. Unfortunately, you guys can't really hear. You guys can't hear these because I'm sharing my screen, and I don't know how I can actually share this, but it has like a bunch of cool 8-bit sound effects generator that you can use to build your coins. Pickup sounds. So I'm just gonna press this pickup and press save. Make it say pickup, and it's gonna save into the sounds folder of our assets. So if you go back, it goes into sounds, and you have a pickup sound. So what we can do is whenever we add to score, we can play a sound effect. When you go to FX, play sound, and then we go and select our pickup sound, and it's gonna go picking. You can't hear. You kind of have to take my word for it because I'm sharing my iPad screen. But every time you pick up a coin, it goes bing, 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 kind of like that Quake 3 sound back in the day. I bet you guys don't know what that is, but it was a very satisfying ping sound. So so if you press quit here, so yeah, what else can we add to our game? So yeah, right now we get game over. It's like one hit lose, right? As soon as you hit the slime, you lose. This game's like kind of too hard for me because I'm an old man and I don't know how to play games anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a health indicator, and we're gonna give ourselves 3 lives, so we can hit the slime 3 times before you lose. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a life indicator, and I'm just going to add it to the left side of the screen up here. Oops, I don't want to do that on my game layer because I want that to be in our global UI so it stays fixed. So let's go to life indicator, and what we're going to do, go to the behaviors on our Bob character, and every time, so instead of doing this, we're going to be a little bit complicated here. So what we're going to do is every time we collide with our our slime, we are going to use the add to life indicator, and we're actually going to not add, we're going to subtract. So do -1, and it's going to do, so you'll see that there's a switch that says event on empty, and basically when it's empty, it's going to game over. So so you have 3 chances. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to run into this guy. Oh no. I'm going to do it again. Oh no. And oh no, I died. Cool. So yeah, there's a lot of different places we can go from here. We can make use of the make scene behavior. Sorry, not make scenes. Load scene behavior to switch into a different level. You can go ahead and duplicate a scene, right? If you want to load another level, you can switch into another scene to use create your own little template, or you can just create a new scene from scratch to start from scratch. And you'll notice that all your global UI behaviors or objects will show up in your new scene. So there's a lot of different places. You can make a ton of different levels if you wanted for your little game that you just made. we have hundreds and hundreds of behaviors. So if you're kind of advanced, HyperPad is Turing complete, which means you can really make very, very complicated games. You're not limited to games. You can actually make a lot of prototypes. You can make little tiny apps if you wanted to. But you have access to if behaviors. You have access to loops. You can do a bunch of math operations, text operations. You can sort objects by distance. That's just being added right now, or not right now. It's been added recently. You have access to you can broadcast messages, you can receive messages in an object, you can do HTTP requests. So if you wanted to modify your game based off of the weather, you can do that, like the weather in Hawaii or whatever, or you can you have access to Socket.io behaviors, Socket.io. So you can make an online multiplayer game if you wanted. You can save to file. You can export your images. RX Codes has actually just recently added a behavior that lets you load images or copy images to pasteboard and all that cool stuff. We have arrays, we have dictionaries, we have timers, we have a ton of different behaviors. And if you want to kind of see it in action, check out our HyperPad Hub, visit our Discord, visit our forum. Everybody's like always willing to help you. That's pretty much it from me. If anybody has any questions in the comments, now's the time to ask. But I'm gonna get Clarissa to come back up. If she's still here. Hopefully she is. Is she here still? Yeah, I think she is. Whoever's in charge of the studio. There she is. Okay, there we go.
Just make sure we have like 5
Yeah,
minutes.
I just brought you up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. She's in the other room, so I don't know. She's coming on now. There you go.
Hi guys, sorry. Just super excited to have you guys, everybody that joined us. Thank you so much for making the effort to be here. Just want to share my screen to invite you guys for our game jam. So we're all here because we want to be part of the global game jam, and we want to invite you guys to submit your game with HyperPad. And there's gonna be prizes involved. Okay, so you're gonna get like over $100 of iTunes gift card. There's gonna be certification of completions for hackathon. This is basically you have only like 7 days to make a game. So this is really good for your portfolio, your resume, and just fun. Like HyperPad is a fun a tool to build a game. So I want you guys to have fun in the process, and whoever is looking to kind of expand their horizons and want to be part of our game jam, this is an amazing time to join us. So so first prize is going to be $100 of iTunes gift card, second prize will be $50, and third prize will be $25. So we're really excited to have you guys, and please make sure that you choose HyperPad. You have no excuse because today is free. So whoever is joining us, make sure you download it, get your iPad, and make your game. So follow us on our social media channels, okay? HyperPad, Instagram, HyperPad, Facebook, HyperPad, Twitter app. And thank you so much for participating. Please give us some feedback. And if you haven't signed up, sign up for the event. And then I'm gonna send you some email with some feedback. So from you guys. So
I also want to point out on our socials, we're always super helpful. So if you have any questions, if you're stuck on anything, we're always around to help. So or if you run into a bug or something, or having trouble figuring something out, we're always around to help.
We have our Discord community that is not official, but it's if you have questions, we're here we're very active in that Discord community. So please follow us, and thank you for participating. And we really want you guys to design your first game. So yeah, thank you. Hopefully you can be part of the Global Game Jam, however you choose this. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.